Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? It is super late already, you guys. It is currently 7:15 p.m. So this may be a short vlog today, and I mean like really short, like 20 minutes or something like that. Because number one, it's late. Number two, it's late and I just want to kind of hang out with Alex. He just got home from working out and just took a shower and he's relaxing in bed. The second reason is that it is really, really cold outside. It was super windy just, I don't know, 2 minutes ago, and then it kind of died down. I actually have my blanket. You see my big blanket? I have my blanket all over my legs. It's a very, here, we'll do a little picture for my thumbnail. It's a very cozy, vlog because it's so cold, you guys. I have to have my blanket all tucked around my legs. Well, I have shorts on. I could have my sweatpants on, but it is chilly outside, and it's good, actually, good chilly weather. But I'm not making chili tonight. I might have. Last night I was gonna eat tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich, and I didn't have that last night. So since it's such a cozy fall evening, I might have tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich later. I'm not really hungry right now because Caroline and I went out to brunch today, and then this afternoon I did 2 review videos. I did a review video of Krispy Kreme and crumble cookies, and so I'm rather full right now, but maybe later I might do a review, or not a review, I might make a I can't get reviews out of my head. I might do or make tomato soup and a grilled cheese sandwich as kind of like a late night snack or a late night dinner. Last night, what is today, Thursday? Oh, last night we watched The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Reunion Part 1. It was kind of, the first half was boring. I was kind of like bored with it the first half. The second half was really good. And then we watched The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And then we watched Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and Kyle Richards was on there. And some actress, some girl that I didn't know who she was. She's going to be in some TV show. It's also getting really dark out here. And I don't want to turn the light on because then all the focus will be on the light. So I don't even know if my camera is focused right now. I'm hoping that it is. But I can't really see without my glasses, and I don't want to wear my glasses for the whole video. Oh, it's not too bad out of focus. I guess I could wear my glasses through the whole video, but I just don't want to do that. I also have my coffee that I got from Starbucks today. Got a, that should be my thumbnail, shouldn't it? The blanket and the cup of coffee. I want like all the colors of the... I got my venti iced coffee with 1 stevia and an extra shot, or my venti iced coffee with an extra shot and 1 stevia is how I used to order it. Well, I used to do 1 equal, which is like sweet and low, but then my friend Valerie told me that stevia is healthier for you, so I switched over to that. But anyway, so that's what I got today for my coffee. I've been kind of slowly sipping that all afternoon. So we watched that last night, and then I was gonna lay down for like a half an hour, which we know would have turned into 2 hours, and I was like, I just want to watch an episode, and I said, and then I'm gonna come to bed because Caroline's picking me up at noon, and I want to get up and get ready and stuff, and Alex is like, well, if you went outside right now and you watched it, you could probably watch 2 episodes. I was like, he's right. So I didn't lay down, and I watched, I think 3 episodes actually last night of Fear the Walking Dead. I really, really like it. I know there's a lot of people that think it's really boring, but I don't think it's boring at all. And actually, I was just talking to Tanya about it because she was saying that she just watched the newest episode of The Walking Dead. And I said kind of what's different a little bit about it is, like the first couple seasons of The Walking Dead, it all took place in like the woods and like, you know, the backwoods and things like that. But Fear the Walking Dead takes place like along the coast from like Los Angeles to Mexico. So it's a lot of towns that they go through and things like that. So it's a completely different environment than Walking Dead. I like it. It's really good. You guys hear the wind? Look at the, I want to show you the trees if you can see them. They're so pretty today. Like really blowing in the wind and stuff. It's really super, it's supposed to be really, really windy tonight. my white mum down there keeps on blowing over, even though I watered it. I watered them yesterday. So Caroline was like, well, maybe you could put a rock underneath that thing. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know how to, like, situate it. So I'm going to have to figure that out, because I don't want it. The thing is, I don't want the mum to fall over and then roll over, like, into the street or something like that. I'm kind of surprised it's so windy right now and it hasn't blown over, because it's blown over with a lot less wind. So anyway, I watched that, and then I went to bed last night, and I ate my Reese's cups that I purchased the other day, peanut butter lovers Reese's cups, and then I ate those last night as a little snack. Went to bed. Well, I ate those obviously while I was eating or watching my show. I had a hard time though when I went to bed last night falling asleep. Like, I just, even though I hadn't laid down or anything, I just could not fall asleep last night. I just wasn't really tired. My mind was just kind of spinning. Not for any specific reason, but I just couldn't. I usually, like, when I go to bed, I don't ever, like, pick up my phone again, like, once I've gone to bed. And I did last night. I mean, not for a while. Like, I turned and I turned and I turned and I turned, and then finally I was like, okay. And I was just, like, reading comments on my videos and stuff like that. I was actually reading comments on my Peterisms videos because I knew today I wanted to do an addiction and recovery video over on my Peterisms channel. So I'd asked people for suggestions of what they wanted videos on. So I was going back and, like, reading the comments of what people had suggested over there. And that was what I was reading last night, and just kind of thinking about things. And so anyway, yeah. And then I got up today and got ready and took little Boo Radley out and all that. And then Caroline picked me up, and we went to Cafe Patashu. And she had the Cuban with scrambled eggs, and I had what I always have, the California Dreamer. It was Snickerdoodle coffee today. I did not get an orange juice, though. I got California Dreamer omelet with potatoes. I didn't even finish my omelet. I only ate, like, half of it. And I did eat most of my potatoes, though. And then Caroline had, like, 2 of the pieces of cinnamon toast that I had, extra gooey. And I had, like, 2 of them. And then I didn't take home coffee from there because I wanted to go through Starbucks and get an iced coffee. So we went to Starbucks after that. And then after Starbucks, we went to Aldi because several people had told me, I think 2 maybe people had told me that I could get this sweet potato pecan casserole at Aldi. I had it written down on my phone and everything. So I rarely go to Aldi just because when I go to the store to get something, like, there's very specific things that I get, and sometimes Aldi doesn't have those things. I know people love Aldi. I know they do. In fact, I took pictures and put it on my Instagram, and I got flooded with all of these DMs on Instagram, like, instantly. And people were like, I love Aldi. I love Aldi. Well, okay. The one thing is, the line at Aldi, and I even said it to Caroline because she stayed in the car while I went inside, because I told her it would just take a minute. The line at Aldi was so long, and this was in the middle of the afternoon, and it was like every person had like 300 things in their cart, 300 or 400 things. No, like, seriously, they had a lot, right? And there were 2 registers open, and there's no self-checkout. So I was like, okay, this is going to take forever. And I never found the pecan or the sweet potato pecan casserole. I only found 2 things that I really wanted, and those 2 things were I found the soup, and it was grilled cheese tomato soup. And it was like grilled cheese sandwiches that were, like, cut up and, like, put into the tomato soup. Then you heated the tomato soup up. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds so delicious. And I could review it on my review channel, right? I might go back and get it because it just looks so good. And then the other thing were these pumpkin and ghost cheese pizzas, which I took a picture of and put on my Instagram. It's getting very mixed reviews. If you want to see what they look like, you can go to my Instagram. But they're getting very mixed reviews from people. Some people are like, oh, this looks so good. And other people are like, I need a review. And other people are like, I love Aldi. And then a couple people, like Mel, my book club partner, she's like, gross. But, you know, Mel basically lives on pretzel bites alone, so I'm just joking. That's a little inside joke between Mel and I. She loves her pretzel bites. But anyway, So we went to Aldi. I didn't find what I wanted. And then Caroline said, well, we can stop at somewhere else. Trader Joe's was absolutely packed, so I didn't want to go to Trader Joe's. So I was going to maybe stop at Fresh Time on the way home, but then we went to Costco. Finally, I bought Q-tips. And I also bought that Neutrogena rain bath stuff that came in like 3 different scents. I usually just like, for the body wash, I like the normal one that's like, I don't know what color you would call it, like a tan color kind of. But I got like one that's like aloe scent and one that's like fresh scent. I got like all 3 of them. And then I got Q-tips, and Caroline got that boost wash stuff that you for dishes. We didn't really get a whole lot. We kind of just like walked around and stuff and looked at the Christmas stuff. And Caroline's like, I hate Christmas. And I'm like, why do you hate Christmas? And she's like, well, first it makes me sad because it reminds me of my mom. And I'm like, well, I understand that. And she's like, but I hate decorating. And she's like, and then it's just like buying presents for people that buying junk for people they don't need. And I'm like, Caroline, don't look at it that way. I'm like, what do you want for Christmas? And she's like, do you want me to send you my list? I was like, Caroline! So anyway, you guys, if I turn on a light out here, it's going to be the weirdest lighting. I'm going to have to sit over in that chair, which is really uncomfortable. So this is going to just be a very dark vlog tonight until I stop. I don't know what else to say, so I apologize. I know most of you just listen to it anyway. But anyway, I'm sitting here holding this coffee, so let me drink some of it. And then we went to the post office, and then we went to Krispy Kreme Donuts because I wanted to get the Halloween Krispy Kreme donuts. A couple people had sent me that they had the Halloween donuts out, so I went to Krispy Kreme and I got the Halloween Krispy Kreme donuts. And then I was going to go to Fresh Time, but I was like, at that point, Caroline had to leave my house by like 3:15 because she had like a closing. And so I was like, let's just go to Crumble. So then I went to Crumble. Crumble was absolutely packed. I could not believe it. It's never that busy in the middle of the day. I think it's like fall break or something like that. So we went to Crumble, and then Caroline took me home. And then I came home, and I was so tired that little dog, Boo Radley, and I came upstairs, and we laid down for like an hour. And then I got up, and I did the Krispy Kreme. I actually made a Krispy Kreme donut TikTok. And then I did a review of the Krispy Kreme donuts, and I'm like thinking I'm gonna have to like probably turn the light on because it's so dark. And then I did a review of the crumble cookies. So yeah, that was that. Oh, and then I did a Peterisms video, and I talked about drama and negativity in recovery. I really enjoyed making that video. I really had a good time. So please go over and watch it and let me know what you think about it. It's also really a lot about like growing up in chaos and being attracted to chaos. So it's not like you have to be in recovery to relate to the video, if that makes sense. Like, you could watch it and not be in recovery from addiction or have addiction and sobriety issues or whatever. You know, you could just like have grown up in some kind of chaos in your life or whatever, and or have chaos in your life, and I think maybe kind of relate to it. I always kind of gravitated towards chaos and negativity for a long time in my life. You know, it's interesting because I had a lot of people in my life for a very long time that I think I'm going to have to turn the light on. It's like super, super dark out here all of a sudden. So let me go inside and turn this light on, and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. This chair is so not broken in that it's like really not comfortable. And I had to move my pumpkins. Somebody actually asked me yesterday, they said, where did you get your pumpkins? I want some of those glitter pumpkins. I got them off of Amazon. I don't know where, but they were like $10.99 each. And they're fantastic. The only thing is that I keep on having to move them because of the rain. Because I don't want them to get soaking wet. But anyway, you know, Tani and I have talked about that a lot. About how there were years of our lives, even in sobriety, where we had several people in our lives that were like very negative, or there was chaos in our lives, right? Or there just was drama. You know, it's like we're always, you know, like this and that and whatever, you know? And at the time, like, it seemed so fun. Like, it really did, you know? It was like, talking about this or talking about that or whatever. But, like, today, now that I don't have that in my life anymore, today, now that I don't have chaos or negativity and my life is really pretty peaceful and serene, you know, and like Tanya and I were talking the other day that, like, I said, like, the biggest issue that I have to think about today is whether or not I'm going to, like, water my mums. And I'm really happy that my life is that peaceful and simple today, you know, that I look back on my life 27 and a half years ago, 28 years, if I look back on my life like 28 years ago, you know, and especially right now, like 28 years ago, because this was like really the beginning of the end for me. It was just like, I look back and I think sometimes, like, it's not that I have forgotten what it was like, and it's not even that I push it down. It's that it almost kind of doesn't seem like that was really me in retrospect. I don't even really know how to make sense out of it or how to explain it. But it's like, I look back and I think about who I was and, like, the lengths that I went to and what I did. You know, it's one thing, I think, you know, people are always like, I really appreciate it, and people are like, thank you so much for talking about your recovery, and thank you so much for talking about addiction and sobriety, and, like, you've helped me, and, like, that means so much to me. But, like, at 27 and a half years, honestly, or however long I've had sober since I've been on YouTube talking about it, and that I've been in active recovery since I've been, you know, on YouTube, it really isn't that difficult to talk about, because it's just kind of like, it's secondhand to me, right? Like, I mean, it's who I am as a person. It's like, I wake up every day as a person in recovery. And so it's the language that I speak, if that makes sense. But that wasn't the case when I first got sober. And I really think sometimes I forget, not that I forget, like, I've recently, like, I always know, like, just from going to meetings, like, new people that are in sobriety or newcomers or people that just got sober or whatever. But I've recently gotten to be friends with some people that are really struggling in early sobriety, and it has really taken me back. You know, in fact, I've met somebody that, like, I've become friends with this guy that, like, his story is very similar to my story when I got sober, and it just, like, hearing him talk and, like, when we talk and stuff, I'm like, it was bad, Peter. Like, it was really, really bad, you know? Like, you can get on here and you can talk about the substances that you used, and you can talk about what, like, one day in your life was like, but it doesn't really give any kind of impression to what the overall thing was. And, you know, I was sharing something in the meeting the other day, and I was sharing the story. Well, I kind of shared two stories, and Tanya was sitting there in the group, and the one story was about how I would, you know, go to my drug dealer's house, and I didn't have any money, and I would beg him to front me drugs. And, I mean, I can see it like it was yesterday. It almost doesn't seem very real to me. But, like, he would be sitting on this, like, couch, and, like, his one friend would be sitting, like, on this recliner, and then he would be like, come here. Like, he would stand up, and he would be like, come here, and he would have this cocked gun, and he'd be like, put this in your mouth, you know, and he would say things to me that were, and he wasn't gay, but he would say things to me that were very sexual, you know. He would say, like, I mean, he would say things like, how bad do you like want to get high? I mean, I'm trying to say this in a very edited way, but he'd be like, how bad do you want to get high? Like, do you want this gun to come down your throat? Like, and I nod, you know, and he'd be like, Bob on that gun, and I would do it, you know. And, like, in my head, I see that kid, like, standing there, you know, like, 22. Like, how do you get there? How do you get in that situation, you know? I don't know. I don't know how I got there, you know? I think about, like, waking up in places, like, I think one of the scariest things for me was that, like, I would wake up in people's houses. I didn't know who these people were. And they hadn't, like, I'm not even talking about, like, they had taken advantage of me or that there was anything sexual that had happened. I'm just saying that, like, I woke up. I remember one time I woke up in these friends of mine's house, and they had, like, put me in these pajamas and, like, put me in their I mean, they were, it was just, anyway, I just didn't understand, like, and I was such a blackout drinker, and then on top of that, when I blacked out, I started using all other substances if I wasn't already using those substances anyway, you know, and it's like, Tanya, when we were talking about it on the way home the other night, she used the word desperation. She's like, you know, I think that one thing between us is that we've never seen each other's desperation. And I thought that's so true, you know, like, we know each other inside and out. Like, Tanya and I know each other inside and out. We've been best friends for 25, 26 years, you know? And yet we've never witnessed each other. We've heard about it. We've heard the stories. Like, one of the stories that I was telling, Tanya said, she goes, I'd never heard you tell that story before. She was like, I never knew that. And she was like, it's really hard for me, even today, because of who I know you are as a person, you know, as this good, nice, caring person that, you know, she was like, that you put yourself in those situations, you know, and I look at that and I think we sell our souls, I think. I think that's why I'll always have such a piece of my heart for the still suffering alcoholic and addict out there, because, but for the grace of God, it could be me. Like, seriously, it could be me, you know? And, and I've seen friends of mine go back out there, you know? I had a very dear friend of mine that went back out there after 21 years of sobriety, went back out there, you know? That could happen, you know? I've had friends of mine that had 30 years of sobriety and went back out there. And one day woke up and started questioning, maybe I'm not an alcoholic and an addict anymore, you know? Stopped doing what they were doing and, you know? And I hope I never do that. I hope I never do that. I hope I never think that it's going to work for me again. Because it's not. And I know that, you know, I know that one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. I know that sooner or later, if I pick up, it's going to, you know, just be right back to where I was before, if not worse. And I think, like, this is the one reality that I do know today, is that so much of my life is built on me being a person in recovery. You know, even for those 4 years when I wasn't going to meetings, like, I never stopped saying, like, and not that I think that this is, like, an excuse or, like, this makes up for it or anything like that, because I should have been working a program. I should have been, like, going to meetings. I should have had, you know, been actively working with my sponsor and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not making excuses for it, but I never once stopped saying that I was an alcoholic or an addict. Like, I told people that I was in recovery. I told people that I was sober. And I think that's the only thing that was the only saving grace. Like, I can remember talking to Tanya, and, you know, Alex and I would be going to bars all the time, and she'd say, I just don't understand how you're not drinking. And what she meant was, I don't understand how you're not working a program of recovery and not drinking, because you're in bars all the time and you have no emotional sobriety, right? And I was like, I don't know, Tanya, I just don't think about drinking. And I really didn't, you know, at that time. But I think today, being as active in recovery that I am, and having a sponsor that I work with, and having so many of my friends be in recovery, and that I'm so, you know, I talk so much about it in my videos, and I share so much about it, and my marriage today, you know, is like, that's such a huge part of it, that I think that if I were to go back out there, and this is probably one of the reasons why, one of the main reasons why, like, I have a tape that runs in my head. So, like, if I ever get a craving, like, when I first got sober, that tape was, like, very long. Like, it'd be like, well, you could do this, and then you could do that. And then it'd be like, but if you do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had this tape, and the tape was wrong. My tape today is about 2 seconds. It literally, like, the thought enters my head, and before it's on the other side, it's gone, right? It's that quick. But a major part of that tape is you probably won't make it back in if you go back out. You're going to die from this disease. And I do believe it's a disease. And I know other people don't believe it. I don't. That's fine. Like, I don't fight with people over this belief system. It doesn't, I don't think it matters as long as we are making sure that one more person doesn't die from it, you know? But, I don't think I'll make it back in, you know? Like, I don't think I'd be willing to take a, start over token. I don't think that I'd come back in to my home group and be like, yeah, after 27 and a half years, like, I screwed up. And I wish, I hope, and I know that they wouldn't pass judgment on me. I know that they would love me just as much as they do today. I know that. I know that because I love people the same way, in that if any of my friends that went back out came back in, I would love them just as much as I did, the day that they left. So it's not about that, but the shame and the remorse, I think, that would go along with that would be so terrifying. Like, I think I would become a monster, like, and I think I also would become, I'm already so, like, kind of introverted that I don't think I would ever leave. I don't think I would go anywhere, I think I would just stay at home. I think Alex would leave very quickly. That's been a conversation we've already had early on in our relationship. I made it very clear to him who I was as a person that was using. My dad made it very clear to Alex who I was as a person that was using. And Alex was like, if you ever pick up, I'm gone. Like, I'm out. Like, I don't have to know. I didn't have to experience it to know that, like, that's not going to work for us, And I know that sounds like horrible to people. And they're like, oh, so your husband would abandon you if you went out using? No, what he's saying is he's not going to stick around for the hell that's going to follow if I pick up. And I do believe today that I have a choice. I believe that before I pick up, we talk about willpower and things like that, and how addicts and alcoholics don't have any willpower. I got a hell of a lot of willpower until I pick up, I don't have to pick up. I have a choice. I can pick up a phone first. I can, go to a meeting. I can read my basic text. I can go take a walk around the corner, So there's a lot of things that I can do before I pick up today. I don't have to have that be my life. And the simplicity that comes with it. I kind of joke about the blanket and the cozy front porch, vlog, and my mums. Aren't these mums so pretty, these white mums? I kind of joke about, here, you want to see the fullness of the mums? I kind of joke about all of that and the cozy mysteries and all that, but, like, I think part of my attraction to all of that is that lost little kid. That was me. That innocence that at 12 years old started drinking to cope, and at 22 stopped using, and then at somewhere along the way kind of regained back that peace and that serenity, that now at 50 years old I find myself obsessed with. Like, Caroline came up here today and she was like, your patio looks so cute. And I was like, thank you. And she was like, I love your pillows and stuff. Okay, the fact that, like, my concern is, did you guys see these trees? Look at these trees. They're so blowing in the wind. The fact that at 50 years old, my concern is picking out the right plaid orange pillow covers or the right pumpkins off of Amazon for my fall front porch. And I'm already thinking about my Christmas one. Caroline and I were at Costco today and they had Christmas doormats that were absolutely adorable. And, thinking about what greenery I'm going to get for the front porch and all this kind of stuff. I'm happy that is how simple my life is today. I'm happy that I don't crave that chaos anymore. And I think people, like, naysayers might be like, well, but Peter, you have a drama channel. I do have a drama channel. And I think that the drama channel is a really good way for me, and I think watching The Real Housewives and that kind of stuff is a really good way for me to indulge in drama that is in a public arena, that isn't me with my friends. It doesn't affect me on a personal level negatively, chaotically, things like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm commenting on it, and so it's kind of fun to talk about and all that kind of stuff, but it's not really affecting me on a personal level. And I'm very aware of that. So I do think that has plays a huge part in all of that. But it's weird. It's kind of like, if you've watched my vlog from the beginning, then you know, it's like every year, every 3 years, every 2 years or something like that. I don't know how often, but it wasn't like, I think last year I was fine with it, but it's like every couple of years I go through this thing where it's like the 2 months leading up, there's like a lot of cars doing weird stuff on my streets tonight. Like the months leading up to my sobriety day are hard for me. I don't remember last year being really that hard. I don't remember talking about it and being like, I'm really struggling, like this is hard for me, whatever. I do feel like the year before, I kind of did talk about it. And maybe that was, I don't know. But this year, and maybe it's just because I've been talking about it a little bit more and thinking a little bit more about it, and I've said, you know, become friends with some like newcomers and things like that, and that I'm thinking about it more. You know, I have another friend of mine that like just passed a year of sobriety, and so it's like I'm thinking about myself and like where I was at a year of sobriety, and which is great. Like, it's good reminders, you know, like this is where your life could be today. I think I know it was like, I think like the second week of November. I don't really remember now. It's been so long, you guys. But like the second week of November, I had dropped out of all my classes. It may have been in October. I don't remember. But I had dropped out of most of my classes. And I was actually, like, I would pull it together enough during the day to go down to school and just sit on campus. And I remember finally, like, one of my friends, well, I've told a story about the teacher that I ended up getting to make amends to years later. She was the one that said she wouldn't let me come into her class. She was my Victorian literature professor. After I'd written this paper on Middlemarch by George Eliot, read the book in one night. I mean, the book is like 1,200 pages long. Read the book, wrote the paper, and turned it in all in one night, and was completely intoxicated and don't remember anything about it. But anyway, that happened, and then I was like, had completely withdrawn from all of my classes, and I remember I would go down there, and I had a very good friend of mine that she and I would go, we were in classes together and stuff, and she knew I wasn't in any classes, and was it her that said it to me, or was it this other person? I can't remember, but one of them said, I was down there, and I just like go, and there was like this courtyard where we would all hang out and get coffee and stuff, and I was sitting out there drinking coffee and smoking a cigarette and whatever, and she looked at me and she said, why are you down here? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, you're not in any classes anymore. And like, and I mean, I still had the backpack on my shoulder and everything, like I was going to class. Like, I don't know what kind of game I was playing. I mean, I don't, or for who. Like, I don't, why I wasn't just at home. And I think like, I kind of, like in my head, knew the game was up. Like, it was over. But I didn't know how it was going to end. I mean, I had no idea I was going to end up in treatment. Like, that had been threatened to me a lot of times, but I didn't really think, I mean, at that point, my dad and I weren't really talking that much. You know, my mom was in her own addiction. I didn't really think that was where it was going to end up. And so that was November. And then I saw my dad one time. I think that was November. And then I saw my dad. So basically, between then and Thanksgiving, I was just like getting up every single day, using all day long until my friends got done with school or working. And then I went down and partied with them. And so by the time I saw them, I was, you know, like I had been drinking and using enough throughout the day that, like, I mean, I woke up, you guys, and I literally shook like this. 22 years old, you guys, 22 and a half. And I shook like this from DTs, delirium tremens. And that was from the alcohol leaving my system. I had such bad shakes. And so I would drink and I would smoke weed and I ate a lot of pills. I was eating a lot of Vicodin, to the point where, like, when my friends would see me at, let's say, 9 o'clock at night, like, I seemed completely normal to them. And then we would sit around their house and they would get ready, and then we would go out at like 10:30 or 11, and by 12:30 I was blacked out. Because I had been drinking all day long. And I also had alcohol in my system from the day before, and that was every single day. And it was just constant. Oh, sorry. You know, and then during the day was when I was, you know, running, trying to get drugs and things like that. And that was when, I don't know, just like so many horrible things happened. I look back and I think the other thing is the things I don't remember that happened that were really scary, you know, that happened in blackouts that I don't remember. Where I ended up places and I was like, how did I get here, you know? And almost kind of to the point where, you know, when it started, when people would say, oh my God, do you know what you did last night? You know, you took your shirt off and you were dancing on a table in the bar. Okay, that was funny at the beginning. But when it's like, do you know what you did last night? Like, at the end, that stuff wasn't funny anymore. And it wasn't dancing on tables with shirts off. It was more serious stuff than that, you know? Where I was doing not nice things. You know, I remember hearing a friend of mine say this. God, this has been many years ago. But she said, when I drank, I was the girl that tried to break couples up just because I could. And I was like, damn, that hit me in the face. I was like, that was me. I could be that person, you know? And I look back on that and like, okay, maybe that's the least of it. Maybe that's not swallowing a gun. But I don't want to be that person. I don't want to bring pain on somebody and hurt somebody. So if the trade-off is my cozy porch with the mums, I'll take it any day over that hysteria and chaos. No, I don't want that. That's craziness. Not at all do I want that. Not at all. Nope, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Not at all. Oh. I'm so thankful I got out of it. I feel it's like the greatest gift I've ever been given in my life. And I do believe that recovery is a gift, you know? But anyway, I was going to say that through like that, whenever that happened in November, maybe it was the first week, I don't know, and Thanksgiving, I saw my dad like one time. And I used to like go to my dad's house and I would get in like these fights with he and my stepmom. And I didn't really realize this till later, like when I was doing inventory on it. But what I would do is I would start these fights with them. And then my dad would just be like, just go. And I would leave. And then I always stopped at this liquor store on the way. It was this little liquor store in the strip mall on the way. And I would get like a pint or like a fifth of some kind of whiskey. I don't know why. That's always what I drank when I got in a fight with my dad. But it was like Southern Comfort, and then I would get like a 6-pack of Red Stripe, that Jamaican beer, and I can remember like I would just get tanked, and I would always just be like, oh, I hate my dad, and I blame it on my dad. Well, my dad had really done nothing at all, you know, and so that had happened, but I had been drinking before the last fight. Like I went over there and I had been drunk, and my dad was pissed, and he was like, give me your keys, and I wouldn't give him my keys, and he was like, give me your keys, and I like ran out the door. And so my dad like disinvited me to Thanksgiving at his house and at my aunt Kathy's house, my mom's sister's house, and was like, we think it would be best if you didn't come for Thanksgiving, which even furthered me being pissed. So from Thanksgiving to December 17th, my sobriety birthday, well, really the day before, which was when, which was the last night that I used, I was just on like a downward spiral. Like, I can remember, like, waking up and, like, spilt full ashtrays. I mean, I had this big glass ashtray, and it would be, like, spilt all over the bed, alcohol bottles on the floor. I mean, it was disgusting the way that I was living, you know? I can remember the door being propped open for the pizza guy to come. You know, it was just, like, my house was just a mess. It just was disgusting, and it was, you know, it was horrible. It was horrible. And, yeah, it was just bad. It was just really bad. I think that's why today, like, you know, I look at, like, treatment. I remember going into treatment that first morning that I woke up, and my neighbor next door, you know, that I grown up next to, I didn't even know that she was the detox nurse at that hospital. I had no clue, you know. And I walked out, and I was like, I need to get out of here. And she, like, grabbed my hand across the counter. I can see it like it was yesterday. And she was like, Peter, you're really sick. She was like, you tested positive for everything across the board, and your vitals are really, really bad. And I was like, okay. And she, like, I guess they, like, held our cigarettes or something, and so she handed me, like, my pack of cigarettes and a lighter, and she was like, just go down to the lounge. And in this lounge, in the detox unit, you could drink, like, real coffee. Like, you, in the other parts of the hospital, you could only drink, like, decaf. But she was like, go down and have a cup of coffee. And I remember I walked down there, and it was like a blizzard storm outside. There was, like, one other person sitting in the lounge. But then later I can remember, like, taking a shower. And it's always interesting to me when I watch, like, people in these, like, zombie shows take a shower, like, after they have all the blood on them and stuff like that. Because it takes me back to that first shower that I had in treatment. And I remember, you know, they gave us, like, pajama pants and then, like, a t-shirt and then, like, a long robe and, like, footies. And I remember taking a shower, and I, like, felt the cleanest I had felt. Like, I mean, it was just like this little bottle of, like, hospital, you know, shampoo and whatever, and, like, a little bar of soap, Dial soap. And I felt like the cleanest I had felt in, like, in years, you know? Which I think is why today I still love, like, shower gels and shampoos and conditioners and putting on pajamas, you know? Like, I love to do that. I do that every night. I put on my pajamas and, you know, get cozy and all that kind of stuff, because I think, like, those are the things that make me feel like home. And, you know, I was telling a friend of mine the other night, I was like, in early sobriety, it was meeting coffee and going home and putting my pajamas on and making a pot of coffee at home and reading a book or reading the text and getting down on my knees and praying. And those are the things that made me feel like home, you know? And I feel like for 27 and a half years, I have been coming home, and I have been finding my home, and I have been building my home. And I think I will probably continue to do that for the rest of my life, and I hope that I stay home. I hope I stay home. I hope I don't go back out, you know? Because it really scares me when I see people that do. I used to think a long time ago that it would never happen to me. I thought, oh, that can never happen to me again, you know? And I think one of the things that I know today is that, I know this sounds crazy, but, like, I don't, like, feel like I'm gonna go inside and pick up a drink. It's not like that, but, like, I do feel like if I stop doing the things I need to do, I'm closer to the drink or the drug than I ever thought that I was. And I have to be very, very aware of that, so I keep doing the things that I need to do. Okay, you guys, this is gonna stop in 30 seconds, so I'm gonna get off here really quickly. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you for hanging out on the front porch with me. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Thursday. I'm not gonna do the 3 things today, but remember to be kinder to one another, love one another a little bit more, and be kinder and love yourself one another. Be kinder and love yourself a little bit more. And I love you guys so much. And remember those 3 things, even though I didn't mention them tonight. And I love you. I love you. And I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you.